And, of course, there's quarterback Sam Darnold, who didn't make it at about 3 other spots, but all of a sudden he's with a good team, and they know how to coach him, they know how to use him, and, man, they win right through the playoffs, and they're the best team in the United States, that's for sure right now.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Have a fun show today. Coach Spurrier will be in. We'll talk to him about the Super Bowl and some other things that are going on, Gator basketball, of course. And then Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Way, or Maybe will also join us on Thursday. Tom Hart from the SEC Network is going to join us. Tom's been doing games all over the place this last couple of weeks, but he can take the time to come on. I look forward to that. Always great to talk to Tommy. When I get home today, I'm going to really work on guests for a couple of Thursdays in a row going forward. So I've been kind of between myself and my wife both being a little under the weather. We've been struggling a little bit, but we're all good now. Hopefully, got a chance. All right. It is time for us to get to our MoneyMetals.com starting 5. It is brought to you by MoneyMetals.com. It is one of the largest gold and silver dealers in the United States, run by 2 Gator grads. 1-800-800-1865. 2 800s in a row. You can't forget it. MoneyMetals.com. Appreciate them for being the sponsor of our starting 5. Number 1 is how the Gators rolled on Saturday night. Now, I got to be honest with you. I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game, and I'm like going, God. I'm like, it wasn't like I was like, yeah. I was like, man, I'm almost embarrassed at how bad A&M is versus how good Florida is. And, I mean, that's what the game was. A&M misses 23 straight shots, which I don't know that I've ever seen that before. I did one time. It was an under 5-year-old game. I did see 23 straight missed shots. I think that was it. But the thing is, even with all those misses, when they finally made a shot, the score was only 13-5. Chris Harry and I were talking about this yesterday, and he brought that up. The score was 13-5. It's not like they're out of the game. They haven't made a shot. Nothing will go in. Florida was not taking advantage of it, and then towards the end they kind of did. Got it up, I think, 30-19, and then in the second half just blew them out. It was over. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, if you can be up 20 at the 4-minute mark, I think it'll be okay. It was almost to the point where you wanted to go turn off and go to bed because it was over. But you had to stay up and watch Kentucky, Tennessee too. So anyway, certainly one of the big stories was Chinyelu with another double-double, Thomas Houck getting 22. But the cheap shot, and I want to get into this, and there's no doubt it was a cheap shot. Nobody could question that. Rylan Griffin, former Alabama player, now playing at A&M, comes up to Thomas Houck and just clubs him in the back. Luckily, didn't do any damage, but Florida coaches saw it. And there was another one later in the game with Xavier Lee, and I'm not even sure who it was because you can't see it on the video on when you go back and replay it. But the coaches were really upset about that one too, and so they got into it after the game. Carlin Hartman was involved. They had enough. Klabchar was saying stuff. Condon was saying stuff. They were saying stuff. It's pretty harmless, I think. But look, Florida's just saying, we're not backing down, and you're trying to hurt our best player. We're trying to repeat. Okay, now we can say it. Now that you're leading the SEC, you're trying to repeat as national champions. I was not ever going to say that until today. This team, when you win the last 3 games by an average of, what is it, 29.7 points, and you go on the road to the other team that you're battling for the SEC and you blow them off the court, felt very similar to what they did at Auburn last year. My point is, look, I still can't believe that Todd Golden's been able to do this with this team and make it a whole out of totally different parts than he had last year. Totally different. He didn't have the Chinyelu of last year, but he had 3 guards. And now he's got a guard and a half, kind of. You can make an argument. either way. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But the last thing you want is the best player, arguably, in the conference. Now, you can certainly make arguments there. There are a lot of great players in this conference, but Thomas Houck is among the best players in the conference and among the best players in the country. And you take a cheap shot at him and with an intent to hurt, in my mind. Florida was really complaining about they wanted that flagrant 2 there. They wanted him out of the game. And they only gave him a flagrant 1, but all is well that ends well. But certainly that I don't know that Florida and Texas A&M have had a real rivalry in any sport because they're still kind of a newbie to the league in a lot of ways, and it's just now all of a sudden it's a rivalry because you bring in. This is what happens too when you bring in from both schools a lot of transfer players, and then, hey, we're going to show you who's boss. Yeah, even though I've only worn this jersey for 30 games, whatever. Anyway, it was probably a little bit of much ado about nothing, but it certainly became a big story. And Florida gets a big win, and now they're in first place all alone in the SEC. It doesn't mean they'll stay there. Certainly a very difficult week coming up, and we'll talk about that next on our MoneyMetals.com starting 5. Number 2 is that Georgia and Kentucky are this week, and that makes it a very interesting week. But it's the SEC. It's this time of year. They're all going to be interesting right now. That's the bottom line. But you guys know that Georgia beat Florida last year, one of the 4 teams that beat Florida all year. Stegman is a interesting place to play. It feels dark and gloomy. They've played okay there, but they've lost some games there too. And look, the way the Gators are playing, I have no worries going up there. They got a good team. They have a very good team. I like Catchings a lot. I like, they've got the kid, I'm blanking on the Smurf. I can't think of his last name. But anyway, they've got a good team. They came here to Gainesville, Florida, beat the crap out of them, as they did last year. But when they went up to Stegman, it was a different story. So it'll be a very difficult game, but I like Florida's chances the way they're playing. That said, then you play Kentucky on Saturday, which will be just people are going to be standing on their heads for that game. And it's going to be a big week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kentucky, if you weren't watching any of these games, beat Tennessee again, coming from behind double digits. Rick Barnes, man, maybe it is time for Rick to say, I've done this for long enough. I'm sure a lot of people up there feel that way. But they beat them 2 straight games now, coming from way behind to do it. That was an interesting game. So was Vanderbilt getting smoked by Oklahoma. I didn't see that coming. I will say this. The SEC is not as good as it was. We all have talked about that over and over again. But it's almost more interesting. I mean, Florida's making it not interesting by blowing teams out, but everybody else is playing very competitive, tight games, and they're fun to watch. I can't wait for the tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see. Look, I think Florida's a bubble 2 team right now. Like, I'd make them the 8th or the 9th seed overall. But, I mean, there's so much basketball to be played. They go and win at Georgia, beat Kentucky at home. They're a 2 seed, and now they're in the conversation for 1. I will say this, though. The top of the college basketball this year feels a little top-heavy. And I'm not saying Florida's not going to eventually belong on there. But when you talk about, Arizona and Michigan and Duke, Illinois, Houston, who I think is still the best team in the country this year. They probably were last year, but another team won the game, and we liked it very much. Anyway. Let's move along. Let's get to number 3 on our MoneyMetals.com starting 5, and that is the way softball started this weekend. Hey, well done, young ladies. I mean, it's good. They've got a lot of new players on this team, but they did really well and won all 5 of their games down at the USF Classic or whatever they call it. I've never really – I always forget when I talk to Tim Walton the next time to ask him this, why they play in that and don't play in the tournament in Clearwater. But which is on ESPN. We can watch it. But whatever. This is what he wants to do. It's what he's always done. He's been very successful doing it. But they went 5-0. I mean, Michigan and Kansas were Power 4 teams that were there. I'm trying to think if there was another one. Is USF Power 4? I guess. No, not UCF is, not USF. Okay. Anyway, they went 5-0. Their team ERA was 0.87, and they won by a combined 37-4. Competition not great, maybe. Yes. They had Bethune. They had anyway. But this is the way he likes to get it started. Start with this, come home, play a tournament, go to the West Coast, play a tournament, get conference play ready to go. That's how it's a tried and true way of doing things, and that's why he's had so much success, Tim Walton over there. And also, I wanted to mention that baseball starts this week. College baseball. Now, it has started in some places, but it's starting in Gainesville this week. Friday, Florida plays. We'll talk about what time that is and what television stations it may or may not be on. All right. Let us move along to number 4, which is the Super Bowl. And why is it number 4, Pat, on your moneymetals.com starting 5? Why? Well, because you all know what happened. There's Gator stuff that I want to talk about. But, yeah, the Super Bowl was kind of boring, wasn't overly interesting. At one point, I said to my wife, the Patriots have 346 yards right now. She goes, what? And I said, in punting yards. So, I mean, it was that bad a game. It was just neither team could get going. I think Drake May's shoulders, obviously, he took a shot before the game, and that's never a good sign. I remember when it was a 99 SEC championship game. Florida's playing Alabama, and Jesse Palmer starts the game. Surprise starter for Doug Johnson, because Doug Johnson his arm had gotten really bad. He'd thrown so much, and he's told this story before. His arm he had some kind of arthritis or whatever in it, and he couldn't throw. So Jesse was awful in this game. He hadn't been playing all year. He wasn't really ready for it. And then so they gave Doug a shot of Novocaine or whatever, lidocaine, and put him out there to start the third quarter, and he threw the ball right into the ground twice, and that was it for him. So I can imagine what it was like for Drake May, but it wasn't a lot of fun to watch. The commercials were average. Again, I do adhere to the Bill Burr philosophy of the Super Bowl parties aren't the greatest things in the world, only because people talk during the game and are quiet during the commercials. That's a good line by him. But we weren't at a party because Karen was sick, so we stayed home. The Bad Bunny thing I thought was pretty well done. It's not my kind of music. I don't get it. I didn't understand a word. I think I got 2 words, but it's fine. I'm not what they're going after. I got news for you. They've already done that. They did Petty and McCartney, and they brought me Green Day before in the pregame, which was great. Green Day was awesome. I'm not the dynamic though, and these people know what they're doing. The NFL is the king for a reason, and they bring in somebody who is very popular, among the most popular people in the world, and the Olympics are coming in a couple of years to the United States, which you better have the Hispanic people on board with that, because most of us red-blooded Americans don't like that funny football. We just don't. Anyway, I don't know am I getting off on a tangent? Let's go ahead and move along. Oh, Kenneth Walker was the MVP. Very nice. I thought that was a deserving MVP. Sometimes it's not, but I thought that was. Usually they just give it to a quarterback. But I don't think Sam Darnold earned it. Certainly he was the better of the 2 quarterbacks. And I feel bad for Drake May. And the other thing is with Drake May, and I was at the Dan Marino one and only Super Bowl. That was in Palo Alto. I covered that game. And you're thinking, well, he'll get back. Never did. So you never know. All right, let's get to number 5 on our MoneyMetals.com starting 5. And that is our Steve and Christine Wendig present the Olympic Gator of the weekend. Now, the Olympics are going on, and we love the Olympics. But we don't have a lot of, we've got Erin Jackson there, and that's about it. And if she wins something, she's got a good chance to be the Olympic Gator athlete of the weekend. But we are looking at the Olympic sports, and in this case, we're looking at softball. And our Olympic Gator of the weekend is Cassidy McClellan. Cassidy, last year and the year before, she played a little bit. I think I wrote it down, 13 starts in 2 years at Florida. The kind of the Mercers and those kind of games and everything. But she's been, they are counting on her to be good in left field this year. And she certainly got off to a good start. 9 for 18, batting .500 to start the season. 3 hits in the first game, went 3 for 3. So she is doing really well to get started with this year. And she is our Steve and Christine present for Boss Hart Realty, the Olympic Gator of the weekend. Brought to you by Boss Hart Realty. We appreciate them. It is time for us to take a break. When we come back, the HBC will join us. A little bit later, we'll have Robbie Andrew, and we'll get to all our other stuff, including a couple of winners on our patreon.com/Dooley Noted contest. You're going to get free month subscription. Words are not coming out of my mouth. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studio. Money Metals Exchange is a new sponsor for our starting 5 here on another Dooley Noted podcast, and we are so happy to have a group that is formed by 2 Florida grads, Mike and Stephen Gleason. They do a great job up there. If you're looking to buy or sell any gold or silver products, this is the place for you. And you can reach them at moneymetals.com. Also, phone number 1-800-800-1865. They are the place to go. They run the largest Class 3 precious metals depository west of New York. They've been voted the best online precious metals dealer in the United States by Investopedia. It's a bull market right now. Everybody needs to get in on the gold and silver markets, especially silver. So it's a great time to jump in. I looked at it yesterday. I was on the website for a while. And it was amazing how many different things they have. Coins and rounds and bars and just all kinds of special things. And I think you would have a great time just going in there and browsing. And look, the prices are right there. You know how much it is. Money Metals Exchange is the place to go. Again, Mike and Stephen Gleason do a great job. You can reach them at moneymetals.com or reach them at 1-800-800-1865.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast brought to you by Meldon Law. For our, obviously, for any time we have Coach Spurrier on, Meldon Law is a sponsor, and we love having them be a part of it. They won't back down. And Coach, we now know who the world champions are. Although, nobody in China said, "Hey, we could beat your football team."
Yeah, I tell you what, Seattle can really play some defense.
Yep.
You got to give them credit that the new coach there got their young guy, Mike McDonald. Gosh, I'd never heard of him until they hired him up there much.
And the funny thing is he went to Georgia. No, of course, he didn't play football, didn't coach there, didn't do anything there. Yeah. So
but he came out of Georgia, is that correct?
Went to Georgia, yeah.
Got in the coaching business and rose fast. I think he's still in his 30s, late 30s or something. But he's obviously a heck of a defensive coach, and he's got good offensive coaches and everybody there. But the way they play is a team. And, of course, there's quarterback Sam Darnold, who didn't make it at about 3 other spots, but all of a sudden he's with a good team, and they know how to coach him, they know how to use him, and, man, they win right through the playoffs, and they're the best team in the United States, that's for sure right now.
Yep.
But anyway, I wore this South Carolina
I was going to
jersey.
ask you about that.
Yeah, Dawn Staley and her women's basketball team beat Tennessee yesterday, the most a Tennessee team's ever lost by 40 or 40, more than 40 points. I forget what it was. It reminded me of one time a buddy of mine down in Tampa. He said there's only one thing Spur, referring to me, likes better than winning big. And they had a full house there at the basketball game in South Carolina, Columbia. And, just everybody was happy. The fans were happy every time they'd score. But anyway, it's only one game, and they got to get back down off that. But they'll do that, and they'll be competing for the national championship, probably with UConn. They got
They're both really good.
Excellent team as always. And then also they're putting me in the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame, which is a Hall of Fame for all the sports and even broadcasters, announcers, or what have you. And that's in May of this year. So
you get a plaque for that, or do you get
Oh, yeah, you get something, little something
that'll
like
go
that.
up here in the restaurant.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have all my Hall of Fames here. I'm pretty lucky, the state of Tennessee and all this, that, and the other. But anyway.
How many will that make for you?
It's more than you want to. Every state has one. Every bowl game that I played in, they have a Hall of Fame.
I know.
They call, can you come down
you're
to
in the Sugar and the Gator.
Orange Bowl,
Yep.
Shreveport, Independence Bowl, every one we've played in.
Yep.
They have a little banquet and get a coach to come and they sell some tickets. But anyway, more than I probably deserve to be in. But anyway, South Carolina women's basketball is really, again, it's been the 4 Final Fours in a row.
Oh, I know.
So this will probably be the fifth.
It's an amazing story when you think about it, because when she took over that program, they weren't anything. It's not. She built it from scratch, and
She sure did.
And sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right coach. They did it at UConn with Oriema. They did. The difference is LSU got Mulkey from from Baylor, so she had already established herself. But the trouble is, I think, for the women's sport, is there's too many teams that are just so overwhelmingly good, and it's hard to
crack into the top
level. Florida's women won twice this week, so that's good. Positive move.
Yeah, Kelly's race team has won 2 conference games in a row.
Yep, they have.
So that's good. That's really good. And
they played right there with all these teams, even including South Carolina. They played with them for a while, but they just can't
quite
finish. Yeah, they may be one player away from being pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we do know that the Florida men's basketball team's not one player away from anything. After destroying Texas A&M on Saturday night, that was a little. I got to a point where I was giggling to myself. I was like, God, this is unbelievable what's going on here.
A&M had 2 points in the first 10 minutes, I think, something like that. It was.
They missed their first 23 shots. I've never seen that before.
And they were at home.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it goes bad. And I like to go back. It didn't always go great for us here. My first year here, we went up to Tennessee undefeated, and we only got beat 45-3.
That's all, yeah.
Guess who won the SEC that year?
Florida.
We did.
Yeah.
So one loss is just one loss. It's not 4 or 3. So sometimes when you get beat by a lot, it can, all right, we got to really get better here. And I came back and made some adjustments, took one offensive lineman out and put another guy in there, and that really helped. And I think we won, I know we won the rest of our conference games after that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always tell people, like, early in the season with Florida basketball, there were a lot of people that were still on that national championship buzz. You know what I mean? They were still feeling it, and they were like, can we repeat? I'm like,
Possibly.
This is a different team. Don't worry about it. Just let this team play and find its identity. And when they lost those 5 games early, everybody was freaking out, and I'm like, just let's see what happens here. And certainly they're playing as good as anybody in the country right now.
Yeah, we are. Our men's team is really playing well. But maybe one other reason they're putting me in the Athletic Hall of Fame up there, Pat, just a real quick story. When I got there at South Carolina in '05, the Confederate flag was still on the Capitol.
Oh, that's right.
And our governor, Nikki Haley, was, trying to blah. And anyway, the Black Caucus was having a convention down at the convention center there in Columbia, and I'm the new football coach, asked me to come and say a few words. And I said if it was up to me, they would take this dadgum Confederate flag off our Capitol here and get us, more connected, Obviously, the black people couldn't stand it. And so anyway, I was popular with the black people, that was for sure. And a friend of mine later said, Steve, you can't talk like that here in South Carolina. Somebody's liable to shoot you. And I said, well, you got to express your opinion. You can't just,
Right.
I read something the other day. Evil will prevail if good people do nothing.
Yeah.
And I was sort of glad to see the students at Buchholz protest the other day about these ice guys going around shooting people and everything. Yeah, it's sort of, we got some problems in our country, and express your opinion. That's what we should be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about, the funny thing is, and again, I don't want to make this political, but when people are ripping the athletes, the USA athletes for saying, I don't like a lot of things that are going on in my country, that's freedom of speech.
That's right.
You're allowed to say whatever you want. You won the competition to get into the Olympics, and now you're in the Olympics. You're allowed to say whatever you want.
That's right.
I
agree.
Freedom of speech only works when people are agreeing with you. That's what I've come to learn in this country. But I'm talking about both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah. You got to agree with me. But let's get back to basketball. And, of course, what Todd Golden's done, has been pretty incredible. And I know that Coach Sumrall is hoping to kind of bring that same kind of enthusiasm to football. And I think Gator fans a week ago got real excited when they saw Sumrall and Todd Golden high-fiving on the sideline during the game and everything like that. I mean, you always would sit a little bit back and watch the game like a normal person, but they were into it. They were getting fired up.
Yeah, they were ready to play, and our student section is really one of the best in the country, if not the best, screaming and yelling and this, that, and the other. So it was certainly a good day for the game, for the Gators, Gamecocks and Gators.
Yep.
There we go.
In fact, Auburn picked up the G League dropout chant that the Rowdy Reptiles were doing for Bediako, but they got a big win. Alabama beating Auburn, so this conference is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting NCAA tournament, interesting SEC tournament, and I know we're excited too because softball's already off to a 5-0 start. Baseball is starting on Friday. Your gymnastics team is playing number 1 Oklahoma on Friday. They had a bad Friday night. Yes, they did not have a good Friday night.
Yeah, we went to Missouri and just got off to a bad start, and Missouri did not had one of their best meets, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lost at Missouri. So I know Coach's Jen's going to get them a little bit more work this week, maybe.
Again, you're going up against the defending national champs and the number 1 team in the country, so you better be at your
Friday
best.
night. Yeah, okay.
Friday night. We got that going on. We got the Gator Invitational golf tournament going on this weekend. Yeah. So there's so much going on this weekend. Also, baseball starts on Friday, and softball has a tournament at home too. So those guys at UAA are going to be worn out by the end of the week.
Yeah, we got some activity on campus this week. Really good. Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun to live in Gainesville. There's so much going on, and I know you like to go to a lot of different events and support all the different Gator sports. So it's fun to have those options. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to go to every game, but you can go to any game you want, and they're always there, and they're always high-quality games.
Yeah, that's true. We got an excellent program, athletic program. Scott Strickland's done a heck of a job, and Gator fans are pretty much happy right now. John Sumrall, we think, is really going to do well. I like everything about his attitude, and the guys he's hired. They're going to coach the way he does, and that's full speed all the time. And I think our fans are really going to like the Gator football teams under John Sumrall. I really do.
I think the passion has been missing, and I'm not saying this in hindsight about Billy Napier, because I said it in foresight. I said, the edge, the passion just doesn't feel like it's there. I think he's a very smart guy, and I think he's a good football coach. He just wasn't good to be the head football coach of Florida at the end of the day. And I think Summerall's built for it. Like he said, I'm built for this. And we'll find out, I mean, he at least gets a first-year schedule. It's not ridiculous. And I feel bad for Billy Napier in a way, too, because what he had to face the last 2 years was crazy.
Yeah, toughest schedule in the country. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's where we are now. And, I read something the other day about Texas. They're thinking about whether or not to play Ohio State.
Right.
All he can do is hurt you whoever loses. Of course, Ohio State may not lose, but maybe one more after that. But Texas is in the SEC. They got a chance to lose several. So a tough schedule is good for the fans and TV ratings, but it's not overall good for your team. Thinking back to what we did at Florida here, somebody said, Coach, y'all had no business playing FSU. Alabama doesn't play them. Tennessee doesn't play them. But you guys play them every year, and they're ranked between 1 and 5. 13 out of 14 times we played them, and it was last game of the season. So you got to win it.
Then you go to South Carolina, you got to play Clemson every year.
Well,
not quite as good, but they became as good. Yeah.
Yeah, but we beat them 5 in a row.
That's right.
I don't think we ever beat FSU 5 in a row. But scheduling is important. Players and scheduling and good coaching will take you a long way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Scheduling is important. We'll see how it all works out. We have to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend, and we'd love to show you a play, but we can't show Olympic stuff because last year or 2 years ago, we showed Olympic stuff during the Summer Olympics, and we were given a cease and desist order.
Really?
Yeah, they take their rights very seriously. They pay a lot of money for it. Billions and billions of dollars. So, but we're going to show you a still photo, which I think we can show, and that is Aaron Jackson, who is of course, a Florida grad, gave the commencement speech in 2023 to I think it was engineering class, and is from Ocala. She's a speed skater, won the gold last year. She is carrying the flag in, and so we wanted to make sure we gave her. We talked about her a little bit on Thursday. We wanted to make sure we gave her the proper acknowledgement. That is a really cool thing for her to be able to do that. So a Gator and the Winter Olympics. Now, I can see the Summer Olympics, and I don't know if anybody's ever done it this summer. I would think Tracy Calkins might have somebody like that down the road. But
swimmers, definitely.
Yeah. Now, do you watch a lot of Winter Olympics or
a little bit? Usually the highlights, maybe so forth.
I'll watch a little bit of curling, and my wife is really into figure skating, all the figure skating. But I don't, I'm good. Yeah. We don't have a lot of winter sports down.
Just the highlights. We watch the highlights.
Yeah. In 1976, Gary Hall Sr. did it.
Gary Hall Sr.
Yeah, he was a swimmer.
Boy, that is not a name that rings a lot of bells to me. So that would have been 76 was the
Montreal Summer Olympics.
Montreal, yeah. Okay. All right. Now we know Gary Hall Sr. All right. He did a good job, I'm sure, carrying that flag in. So do we have art of him, too? Do we have a picture of him? We need a picture of Gary Hall Sr. All right, Coach, you got anything else for us today? I know we're getting ready to get into the exciting time for basketball with the tournaments are going to be coming up pretty soon. 8 games to go for Florida in the SEC. And so
we've got our Coach of the Year.
That's right. Yes, that's coming up.
Here at the restaurant. February 23.
23.
February 23. And Dan Mullen is our Coach of the Year, first year at the school. And Phil Fulmer is our Legend Coach of the Year. And then we got some Freshman of the Year and this, that, and the other. But
looking forward to it.
Yeah, Coach Mullen and Coach Fulmer will be the 2 stars of the event. And we're trying to get some other coaches to come with their players. Kirby Smart may come. We're not 100% if he's going to make it, but hopefully he can come with one of his players. I think one of his freshmen got a Freshman of the Year award. So anyway, hopefully we'll have a good turnout here at the restaurant, and that's February 23.
Well, that's the way they do it at Georgia too. They don't. The portal's just a little bit. It's just adding pieces. They still believe in recruiting.
And train them. Yeah. They don't have. I read in the paper where we have 50 first-year players, but now 20 were recruits and 30 transfer portal.
Yeah.
I think LSU's got like 50 transfer portal guys. So
it's the way to do it. But
you got to go that way. But I like recruiting also, and see if you can keep them there 3 or 4 years or 5 years.
And cherry pick 5 or 6 players, you know, that fit the needs that you like. If you need a receiver really badly and you want a veteran, you bring them in. So that's one way to do it. The other way is just got your roster every year and just take whoever you want. All right.
Yep.
All right, we'll let you go, Coach. Of course, Coach Spurrier's appearance is brought to you by Meldon Law. They won't back down here at the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We'll be right back with more of another duly noted podcast. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No Way, or Maybe right after this break. All right, it may be a new year, but it doesn't mean you have to back off any of your goals as far as losing weight. I know I've been working even harder on it, and of course I get an assist from BMI TeleMed. They help us out with our New Year's resolutions, even if I've already broken 2 of them. Not the food ones, though. Weight loss is your goal. Get with BMI TeleMed. They use GLP-1 medications, and they are individualized, and that's the great thing. I've been through this, and Charlie, just talking to him, it was so great to make him understand, and he understood what I was doing. It's not about just losing weight. It is about keeping it off. You know that. We're all excited about the new year, and we're going to lose weight, but when you lose it in the first month, then you got to keep going. BMI TeleMed is sensible. It's straightforward. It's affordable. No contracts or hidden costs. BMI TeleMed is donating $1 for every pound you lose to the Florida Victorious Foundation. So go Gators. I'll join the listeners on this podcast who've already lost over 600 pounds. Are you kidding me? I'm 60 of them right there. All right, contact BMI TeleMed today at 727-383-1677.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is great to bring in our good friend Robbie Andrew for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. Robbie, how are you? How was your weekend?
Good, Pat. How was yours?
It was very low-key. Karen wasn't feeling good, so we kind of laid low on Sunday and just watched the game at home.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did too, Pat. So it was nice.
Do you think that's a sign of getting old or a sign of having been to too many Super Bowl parties?
Well, what happened to the famous Dooley Super Bowl party?
It was
gone by the wayside.
It was epic. Karen used to serve Super Bowl Sundays at halftime. That was great.
Chili was always a hit.
Yep, chili, everything. It was a good time. I was talking about it last night, how we used to put people out in the back porch. That's where we had to get a TV out there. And it'd be like last night. It was cold, and they'd be out there shivering. Norm Carlson and Lisa Spurrier would be out there shivering. I mean, come on inside, guys. It's okay.
Good times.
Yep. All right. You ready for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe?
Yeah, whenever you are, Pat.
All right. It is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. Go in there and say, hey, I heard you guys talked about on another duly noted podcast, and you get free French fries with your order. There was a game I was watching, and it was I can't remember who it was, Arkansas or somebody, and they were like, well, if they make this shot, they're going to get all the students are going to get free French fries. And I'm like, you get that with Big Mills anytime you want, just walk in there and say, you listen to the podcast. Yeah. All right.
To make the shot.
So we got to get the students to get over there more often. All right. Number one, Robbie, on Yes, No Way, or Maybe with the great Robbie Andrew, Florida could be a number 2 seed by the time we get to the big dance.
I think, yes, Pat. I think there's definitely a chance they could climb. I think they're sitting at a 3 right now. And, I mean, look at the way they're dismantling SEC teams, even on the road. And it's caught the attention nationally, the way they're playing right now. They're not a great shooting team, but they just play great. Their own style, they play it great, and they go up-tempo. And look at the games ahead, Pat. They got tough ones. Georgia on the road. They lost them last year. You got Kentucky, which is on a roll right now. So, there's some big games coming up, and they win those, they could climb to number 2.
Yeah, I think, again, their strength of schedule in the early part of the season, which was ridiculous. I think it's 1, 3, and 8, and the net rankings are the teams that they lost to. That's not going to go away. Even though they didn't win any of those games, that's not going away. That strength of schedule is always going to be there. And I think if I was seeding it right now, I'd make them the last 2 seed.
Yeah, that would make sense, Pat. I mean, they're playing as good as anybody in the country right now. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like you said, the way they took it to A&M on the road, I mean, that was a big hostile environment there, and the way they handled themselves there was unbelievable. I'm very impressed with the job that Todd Golden's done with his team. I
was going to ask this as one of my questions for Yes, No, Where, Maybe, and that would be, Robbie, you were offended that the A&M player took a shot at Thomas Houck, your guy, Tall Tebow.
Yeah, Tall Tebow. It was inexcusable, Pat. There's no reason to do that crap. Florida was kicking their butt. The game was basically over, and to do that, there's no place in the game for that kind of crap. So,
and there were some other things that happened. I talked about that earlier. So
yeah, there was some dirty play going on for sure, and that's a sign of a sore loser right there.
Exactly, and they've lost 2 in a row. So, all right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe with Robbie Andrew. Robbie, you are happy for your former quarterback Sam Darnold.
I'm going to say, yeah, definitely, Pat. I mean, the thing is with Darnold, I think the Vikings made a mistake getting rid of him. But you look at all the stuff he's been through, being the top player taken and the abuse he's taken, and he's handled it all with like in a first-class manner. He's never bad-mouthed anybody, said he, talked down any of the teams that cut him or anything. He just has gone about staying focused and doing his job, and he finally landed at the right place, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. So I'm real happy for him.
You think back to the day after the press conference that he gave after a loss when I think he was with the Jets, and he said he was seeing ghosts out there. You didn't think that guy would ever play football again?
No. Yeah, when you admit that you're seeing ghosts, and that's the real problem to play quarterback in the NFL. But he has definitely, turned things around. I think a lot of people are happy for him. It's a great story.
Yeah, no turnovers in the postseason for him.
Yeah, and like I said, just the way he's handled it all, Pat. He's been first class all the way.
Do you know his grandfather was the original Marlboro Man?
I didn't know.
Well, yeah, he was. There you go. There's some trivia for you.
Back when we were kids, the Marlboro Man.
Yep. On number 3 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe with Robbie Andrew, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. And, of course, anybody who's on the Zoom is also coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. Number 3, Robbie, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial made you laugh out loud.
It did, Pat, and yes, yeah, it did. It was one of my favorites. I don't know if it was the favorite, but I think my favorite one, Pat, was the Kurt Russell one.
Oh, it was good.
And the reason it was for me is because I just watched that documentary on the 1980 Olympic team, and they went over the thing when he was going again, and he did it in the commercial. So I thought it was great. But I think they just lost to Finland or somebody, and he kept them in there for an hour and a half. And this is a real Herb Brooks. And they turned the lights off, and he kept doing it again. So to me, that one was my favorite, just because I'd watched the documentary.
Yeah, well, I suggested that documentary to you. I told you how good it was.
It was great. And
they called them
goosebumps, Pat.
Yeah, they called them Brooksies when they had to go all the way to the end and all the way back again. Brooksies. How many Brooksies do we have to do?
He tried to kill him.
But yeah, I want to recommend that to all the listeners out there. It's called Miracle, the Boys of the 1980 team, or whatever it is.
Oh, it was, yes.
Don't confuse it with the movie Miracle, which is a great movie too, with my
With
guy Kurt Russell. Yeah.
But they're all in their 60s now, Pat. It was great, the interviews they had with them and having them all together, looking at the tapes and the highlights and all, and seeing them tear up and all. It was really, really emotional. And the thing about Herb Brooks, he was a complicated guy. I think he wanted to get close to those guys, but he never did because he knew he needed to be kind of like their enemy in a way to get the best out of them. So it's a great story.
Yep, it's great. And again, I told you this. I said, I've seen a documentary on this team. I've seen a documentary on the Russian team. I've seen the movie Miracle. And I said, there's no way I want to watch a fourth movie on this. And then I watched it and I went, holy crap, this is the best thing I've seen yet. So,
I agree. I appreciate that recommendation, Pat. It was really, really great.
All right. I'll try to come up with another one today and give you a call.
Okay. Yeah, do it.
All right, my man. We'll see you.
Pat, we'll see you.
Thanks. Okay, great to have Robbie on. As always, let's get to our Los Landeros Smooth Move of the Weekend. It is brought to you by Los Landeros Tequila. It is go beyond time when you go to Los Landeros Tequila, my favorite tequila, and Urban Meyer's favorite tequila. Our Smooth Move of the Weekend was the LA Bowl just saying, nah, we're good. We've had enough of this. And they said, we are out of here. Everybody knew this was going to happen, but it became official today. The LA Bowl you had a Mountain West team against a Pac-12 team, and then the Pac-12 dissolved. And the last game, I bet you cannot name who played in the last LA Bowl this year. It was Washington against Boise State. I'm sure you watched that game. But the LA Bowl, which was the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, and that was the Ron Gronkowski Bowl, and I don't know if it was a Snoop Dogg Bowl. Anyway, it is going away.
That's a different kind of bowl.
That's right. That's right. That's a bowl that has water involved in it. That is our Los Landeros Smooth Move of the Week. And let's get to our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Weekend, brought to you by our good friends at Adams Rib Company. They will give you the best barbecue you can ever ask for. We appreciate Michelle and Adam over there for doing a great job. My Gator of the Weekend is Boogie Flan, and here's the biggest reason. Like, Boogie Flan didn't put up stat stuffing game, but he was a true point guard. And that is why, at the end of the day, you look at that plus minus, and I don't know how much you paid attention to that. I paid some attention to it. He had a plus 27. So that means when he's on the floor, Florida was ahead by 27 points. That's pretty good. That will get you the Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Don't forget, Boogie, you want to go to lunch, just let me know. I'll come down there and buy it for you. I may even just call it in for you if you want it. All right. Boogie Flan, plus 27. That's amazing. Let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick, and we will start out by saying only two of you nailed it on our got all three right, because most of you said no on the 2-point conversion try, that there wouldn't be one. And there was one, of course. And it was not successful, but there was one. So only two people got it right, and those two, courtesy of Leonardo's at Millhopper, are going to get a month free on patreon.com/Dooley Noted, where I'm doing all my writing now. I write the back nine there. I do grading the Gators. I do 5 things on Wednesday, 5 things on Friday, and whatever else comes into my mind. So I will be sending you those to your email addresses. Be on the lookout for that. And you got time to, your month doesn't start till you accept it. And we appreciate that. We're going to do another one this week. We're only going to give you one thing you have to get right. Because my man Kyle Cohen over at Leonardo's really wants to give these away. He bought a bunch of them as a show of support for me, and I appreciate him so much. But he wants to give them away. He's already got his. But anyway, our two winners, Harold Hyman and Andy McIntosh. And so I will be sending you both the link to click on and be able to accept to be a member. It's a pretty big deal to be a member of Duly Noted. family. All right, so Florida plays Georgia on Wednesday. That's all I'm going to give you. Pick a winner. I know you're all going to pick Florida, and that's fine. But the game is at Georgia where they won last year. We'll see what happens, so it's at least worth a pick. Anybody who gets it right will get a membership. I hope. Yeah, no, I don't think we can go through 18 of them that quickly. But anyway, so that is and just, again, send it to patrickdooley54@gmail.com, and that'll be, we'll be able to get that. And again, Harold and Andy, I will send you your Zoom links, or not Zoom links, but your links to get your free membership for a month. Yes, very cool, and we appreciate it. And they're going to do this every month, so we're going to have this going, so it'll be a lot of fun. We appreciate Leonardo's and appreciate Kyle. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipky. 3 things. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Okay, our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number 1 is we had some fining going on this weekend. North Carolina got fined $50,000 for court storming. And for those of you who don't know, John Shire, the coach at Duke, said 2 of his staffers got punched in the face. There's no video evidence of it. Whether it happened or not, who knows? Look, you know how I feel about court stormings. It's very simple. Just let the players and all the staff get off the floor, and then you storm the court. Because then you're all with a like mindset. You're all celebrating. You're not the team that just got beat on a last-second shot. It makes too much sense. And nothing ever happens that makes sense in college sports. So they got fined $50,000 for that. And it was a great game, and it's a shame that it had to end like that. And again, they stormed the court, and there was still time left on the clock. So they had to get everybody off and put them back on. And I would say that not only should you get fined for storming the court, you should get an extra $50,000 for storming the court before the game is over. There's a lot of rules I would put in. Not only did they get fined, but so did Oklahoma State for chanting. And you know what they chant, but it's an anti-Mormon chant that schools in the Big 12 tend to do. They don't like the Mormons for some reason. They got fined $50,000. Can't we all just get along? It's getting crazy out there in this world. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is we better start taking notice of Chris Gotterup. And there's a lot of you out there going, did he just say, Pat, get it up? Or go get her up? What are you talking about? Well, Chris Gotterup, and for those of you who follow golf know, he is on fire. Just won at the Waste Management after winning at the Sony. He's won 2 of the first 3 tournaments he's played in this year. He's a really good player, and he certainly doesn't look like the premium athlete. I mean, he's got a gut on him. He's tall. I don't know. I don't even know where he went to school, to be honest with you. But he won again this week, and good for him. Now, Matsuyama had to kind of, pee it away to lose it, but he was in command. It was interesting, but the trouble is you go to a playoff and everybody's like, the Super Bowl's on. Nobody's watching the playoff. Anyway, Chris Gotterup. Remember when he won the Scottish Open last year? We talked about him a lot. He's a really good player. He can really smoke it. All right, and finally, number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. The Olympics are going on. I hope you've been able to watch it. I've watched a little bit. My wife's been obsessed with the figure skating. We won a gold medal in team figure skating, which don't even ask me about that. We won our women's hockey team's doing good, I hear, and I don't know. There's some other stuff going on. It's hard for me to get too into the Winter Olympics, but, when there's nothing else going on, yeah, it's something to watch. And 4 o'clock in the morning, if I'm up, yeah, it might be something I do want to watch. But we don't have a lot of winter sports down here. We will watch Erin Jackson, though, because she's a Gator. And that's what we fall for. That, for today, is our Hesser and Kipke 3 thing. Oh, yeah, by the way, the medals apparently are breaking over there. Did you see this? Where the people are getting medals and they're chipping off. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's not a good sign. I thought they were made of gold. All right, let's get to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend, brought to you by our friends at BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed, your weight loss specialist. Give them a call at 727-383-1677. Tell them Pat Dooley sent you. You get a discount. And Pat Dooley is sending you because I saw a number on my scale today that yesterday, I have not seen. I don't know that I've ever seen it. Because when I was young, we didn't have scales, When you were a kid, you probably had a scale. When I was a kid, though, we're talking about the 60s. People didn't have scales. Nobody cared what they weighed. They just knew they either weighed a lot or a little. Anyway, I don't know that I've ever seen this number. Our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend is North Dakota State University. Why? Because North Dakota State just joined the Mountain West Conference. They paid them, I think, like $17 million to do this, and they won't get full status. But hey, welcome aboard. And North Dakota State, let me tell you what, they're going to beat some teams in that conference. I know that they've got the remnants of the Pac-12 and all these other teams from all over, but they're going to be tough to beat. North Dakota State, man, they win a lot of football games, but they are overachievers. And not only that, but I know that their exposure is not going to be great. It's going to be like on CW and I don't know what other channels there are, but it'll be better than what it is now. The only time you ever see these teams play is in the postseason. And it's usually up against another game that you'd rather watch. So good move for them, North Dakota State. Let us move along to our Learner Law Club Team of the Week, brought to you by our good friends at Learner Law. They do a great job over there. And we appreciate them. If you want to do your closing yourself, they will get you resolved. They will solve your problems. Let's go with our Florida Women's Club Ultimate Frisbee team. They had their opening tournament last week in Orlando, made the finals, lost to Brown. Brown. What does Brown do for you? Well, they beat you sometimes. They lost to Brown. The men finished in the top 15, so great showing by both the Ultimate Frisbee teams, and they are club teams of the weekend. So thanks to Matt Lerner for taking care of us with that. We appreciate him very much. All right, let us move along to our Mark Gaida presents the 12. Mark Gaida, Pepin Realty, present the 12 every Monday on here, sometimes on Thursdays. But Pepin Realty, we appreciate them. We're going to give you the net rankings. I told you I was done with the net rankings until the last 2 weeks of the year. Of course, you knew I was going to break that resolution. You knew that. So right away, Florida wins a game on the road against a good team, and I go, I'm all over it. So we're going to give you the top 12. Number 1, Michigan. 2, Arizona. 3, Duke. 4, Illinois. Those, if I had to pick 4 teams that'll be in the Final Four, that's who I would pick. Although I might take Houston, who is number 6. Iowa State's at 5. I might take Houston over Illinois. I haven't watched enough of Illinois. I need to kind of watch a little bit of them. I've watched a little bit of their games, and I know they got a really good freshman. Number 7, by the way, is Gonzaga. Number 8 is UConn, which means Florida has lost to 3 of the top 8 in the net rankings. Number 9, your Florida Gators. Yes, all the way up to number 9 now after that win. And let me tell you what. I talk about this all the time with net ranking. You set that beachhead and then you move from there. The beachhead that Florida set wasn't as good as they wanted it to be because they didn't win those games, but it still was a solid beachhead of playing so many tough non-conference teams that Florida's ranking's not going to move a ton no matter what happens. Now, you can't go lose your last 8 SEC games. I mean, but they're in really good shape. Number 10, Purdue. Number 11, Nebraska. And number 12, Michigan State. So the Big Ten, very dominant here in the rankings. Vandy is the next highest SEC team at number 14. So But if Florida can just maintain this, and when I say maintain it, you got 8 games left. You got at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 SEC tournament games left. You got to win 6, 7 games in that, and then you're going to be you can be a 2 seed. We'll see if that does happen. That is our Mark Guida presents for Pepin Realty, the 12. Let's move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend, brought to you by our friends at Gallo Car Wash, where we go to get all of our cars washed, always at Gallo Car Wash. We appreciate them. Our Sponge of the Weekend it was kind of under the radar. We used to make a big deal of this story, but I don't know if we do anymore. But the SEC distributed the money that they are going to distribute to schools this year. A little bit north of $1 billion. $1 billion. You got to go full Dr. Evil for that. So 16 teams, and somebody did the math, so I wouldn't have to. Ends up being $72.5 million per team. So why do all these coaches getting big buyouts? Because they're printing money. That's the bottom line. But hey, SEC soaked it up. Now the Big Ten got more. I'm sure. I haven't seen their numbers, but I'm sure they're more. They're always more. But they run college football, as we know. All right. That is our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. Let's move along to our Games of the Weekend, wrapping it up here with the Swamp Games of the Weekend. I know members of my family were at the Swamp all weekend, going to different events, going to different basketball, football. I know that security, one was working security. There's all kinds. Everybody was out there at the Swamp to see all the games that were going on. So let's talk about what we got going on this week. It's a pretty good schedule. Next weekend is going to be ridiculous, and we're going to save all that for next weekend, but for Thursday's show. But next weekend is going to be ridiculous. But let's just tell you what you got going on during the week this week. Tuesday, softball at Jacksonville. That game is on the Plus at 6 o'clock. On Wednesday, they play Jacksonville at home at 6 o'clock, also on the Plus. So if you get ESPN Plus, which I do, you can watch some softball on Tuesday and Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Purdue at Nebraska should be a good game. That'll be a chance for me to watch a little bit more of Nebraska and Purdue. I haven't seen a lot of them either. I've seen a lot of Purdue. I haven't seen a lot of Nebraska. That game is on FS1 at 7 o'clock. North Carolina at Miami. North Carolina coming off the big win. Miami, of course, got another win. They're going to be in the tournament, so this will be a good game. That's on ESPN at 7, and then Vanderbilt at Auburn. SEC Network at 7 o'clock. On Wednesday, Florida, Georgia, ESPN 2 at 7 o'clock. And then Missouri at A&M is the SEC game at 9 o'clock. This weekend's going to be fun. This week is going to be fun, too, because you've got all kinds of things you can watch. That was weird. I almost went like that guy on Howard Stern. No, there's so many things you can watch. And don't forget the 500 is coming up this weekend as well. They had snow at the thing they were trying to do before up in North Carolina. Anyway, we got a lot going on. Let's have some fun. This is the best time of the year. We got so much going on. Softball, baseball, gymnastics, basketball. I don't know if you know about Florida's pretty good in basketball. Women's basketball, it's won 2 in a row. We'll get to all that stuff on Thursday to tell you what's coming up on the weekend. It's going to be a wild and crazy weekend in Gainesville, FLA. For another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. For the great Zach Rothrock, I am Pat Dooley. We are deep, we are way back, and we are out of here.